What's up, YouTube? Let's hop back on Assetto Corsa, and we're gonna drive the V8 era 2013 Ferrari. All right, before we hop on the sim, let's talk about the V8 era. I guess the first thing is that's the era that was happening when I started watching F1. Um, my first season was 2009 with Braun GP and Jensen Button and Rubens Barrichello. Before that, I realized like F1 and IndyCar were different, but I didn't really have the time because I was in high school, working, doing sports, all that other stuff. But the V8 era is dope to me just because it was really when I got like fully immersed in it and there were just so many cool things that happened in that time period. You know, Braun, the Braun season, 2009 season is one of the best like Cinderella stories. You never get that in F1 anymore. But seeing Hamilton at McLaren, Alonso at Ferrari, um, Rosberg, Schumacher, like seeing all of this stuff happen. F1 was pretty good. You had cool stuff like the F duct. That was the start of DRS. And, the double diffuser. Toyota left. BMW left. We still had, there were a lot of like new teams. Guys like Daniel Ricciardo, he drove for HRT. So the V8 era is like my first like full like period of like watching F1. But it's funny, like I don't know if you guys heard the rumors about F1 is actually considering bringing back V8s. And I knew, in my opinion, it's not going to happen no time soon. Even if they do decide to bring back V8s, the problem is these power units cost so much money to develop. Not as much for the teams that were already in F1 with the current 1.6 turbo, but Audi, Honda, Ford, teams like that, they're not really big fans of switching back to an engine when they spend all this money after only 3 years. So we'll go ahead and get that out the way. I wanted to get my piece on that, but I'm expecting to get the closest to a respectable lap time for F1 with the V8 car. In my opinion, the V8 car is it's the easiest car to drive. 2.4 liters, naturally aspirated, 18,000 RPM. It's definitely the easiest one to drive. Like I said, that 17T is just so damn fast, and the 2015 Ferrari, the torque really is kind of tough to manage. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and hop in the sim now. Keep it real brief, and I'll put all three of them together. Then we'll probably drive the Senna 98T. We'll check that out at 100% boost. And then F2004 will be the end of the Assetto F1 cars, because I want to drive that on regular Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Evo, and that'll actually be my first drive. But stay tuned. All right, short and sweet. As you guys can see, these are the modern F1 cars. So you got your V8 era, your skinny single turbo era, and then they picked it back up with speed. Current rule set is ground effect, and the next set is gonna be like a mix between the 2008 car and the ground effect car. So, I mean, yeah, for me, this was the start of it right here. Blown diffusers, Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton in the McLaren. Like this was kind of like the time period for me. But even on the backside, you can see the wings. This was the beam wing I was talking about. Bigger diffuser. Slowed down. Got harder to drive with these. Sped up with these. So we're going to go ahead and hop on track and do some driving. We'll see how close I can get. I'm not going to tell you guys where I'm going to drive, but see you guys on track. Alright, before we go out on track, we are at the Nürburgring GP circuit. Put some super softs on here. Not really gonna change the aero. Let's just get started. If I remember right, this is the easiest car of all the F1 cars to drive. 7-speed in a 20,000 RPM. Check out that noise she makes. It does have DRS, but it doesn't have much else. Like I was saying so I looked it up for the weekend, and last time, well, maybe not the last time, but the 2013 race, the year that this car raced on, Lewis Hamilton took pole 129.3, and Fernando was the fastest of the race, 133.4. But Vettel actually won, and then if you know me personally, Lotus actually pulled off, got second and third place that year. So back when Lotus was in F1 and there weren't Alpine. But anyways, like I said, man, it's a really fun car. Thrustmaster actually also made this wheel, funny enough, but it's not. It's a pretty cheap wheel. Doesn't even have carbon fiber, mostly plastic. This is when you could drive a GT3 car. Well, I guess you could drive on any wheel, but this was before all the technology and hybrid stuff kind of took over. Super easy car to drive though. $18,000 RPM. It does have DRS. Haven't come across a DRS zone yet. Oh, well, maybe they don't have DRS zones on this track. I actually didn't care that much for this track until ACC, because it was like, if I'm going to the Nürburgring, I want to drive the Nordschleife. But the problem with that is this was before ACC got the Nordschleife, so it's like, you know, there's a limited amount of tracks on Assetto Corsa Competizione, so I was kind of forced to race on this track. And funny enough, some of my best races are actually with the 488 and the 296. Car also has curves. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, so that's one DRS zone. Let me just find the other DRS zone. Oh. Oh, tighten up. Talked about this car being NA and easy to drive. Here I am stinking it up. Anyway, so that's the lap. All right. Still not done yet, but the NA life, man. I talk about how since I started racing more seriously, um, I've grown to like appreciate NA cars a lot more. Um, the engine on this thing is dope. It's fun to rev it out, but because it's NA, you got to be careful about um, being too low of a gear because the RPMs will pick up like that, and obviously that's how you lose it. But the NA engine is so simple, and I think it's like the purest version of a race car because you ain't got to think about no lag. You can just rev her out. And also, I'm laughing because this track is so fun. Um, like I said in the intro, I didn't drive the non-Nürburgring Nordschleife track very often, but because of ACC, um, I started racing on it a lot more. My last lap is like a 139, so I still got some time to go, but I also got to take some weight out of the car. Fastest lap on race pace is 133, so I'm gonna take some weight out of the car. We'll see where we end up. But yeah, this is a it's a great era of F1. And like I said, it brings me back to simpler days, no bills. Just party, hang out, stay up, watch the F1 race, or leave early, watch the F1 race. Anyways, let's take some weight out of the car, and we will see where we end up. Pit stop strategy. Where is it at? Fuel. Yeah. Let's take some fuel out. I will say I have a feeling that this will be the closest I get to the actual like F1 lap time. Simply because with the car being lighter and with the engine being NA, and frankly this is probably the easiest F1 car to drive of all of them. Feel like I'll probably get the closest with this, but I'll be back with my final result. All right, guys. I was able to closest I was able to get was a 136, which is actually the closest I've gotten to the actual pole position time. And I'm not doing anything but putting on the soft tires and taking some fuel out. So this is like the default drivable setup. But honestly, the engine just shines. It's not as fast as the V10s, right? But it's definitely the easiest to drive. A lot of we had a lot of innovation during this time period too. Um, like I said, and then the best story besides Hamilton versus Verstappen in 2021 was probably Ross Brawn with Jenson Button winning that title in 2009. But a fun car to drive, definitely the easiest, I would say. But the engine is pretty good, even though the V10 is better, and we're gonna get to that. It still revs 18,000. It has the right amount of gears, which is 7 instead of 8, in my opinion. But anyways, guys, like I said, I'm just enjoying the game before I get ready to pick up AC Evo, and I realized there was a lot of content. You can tell. And another part, like when you drive, you can see that hit the brakes, the driver tilts forward. So that's cool because it actually shows like how these cars are on people. But anyways, guys, comment down below your favorite race from the V8 era of the I guess the clean air of 2009 to 2013. I would probably say the Canada race was really good, but there are just so many races that I can think of, and so many like cars. You know, I think about the Renault with the blown diffuser. They had a frontward facing diffuser. Red Bull, they started to throw purple on their cars. Mercedes, they had the split intake. McLaren had the U intake. Like, there are just so many things that I like about F1 come from this time period. But anyways, guys, oh yeah, Sebastian Vettel versus Mark Webber, Multi 21, and it was Fernando is faster than you, so I'm smiling, laughing, just thinking about all the stuff that happened during this time period. Anyways, guys, stay tuned for more. Apex Vision out.